Welcome to Showboys. My name is Mike. Thank you for tuning in. It's another Thursday. That means we got another podcast for you guys. Joined with me, as always, my good friends, fellow hosts, Pixel Nick and Chadwick the Third. Chad, we'll start with you. How are you doing tonight?
I'm great, man. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing well.
That's good.
I loved that snappy response that I got there, and I think it's because I targeted my question.
You did. It was so impressive.
It was
It
great.
got
It
me
was
so
great.
excited. Yeah.
Yeah. Nick, how are you tonight?
He grows up so fast,
He does.
It only took 121 episodes.
and we're finally there. Chad got he got directed a question.
Yeah.
I'm doing well, I would say. Excited for this episode. This is the third annual Gaming Goals episode, I do believe, because I have 3 episodes worth of notes to compare against how I fare on my gaming goals every year.
Yeah, I was thinking about that earlier, and I was like, that's kind of wild. This is,
Yeah.
it's a yearly thing, and this
It
is our
is.
this is our third year podcasting. That's crazy. What's up, Civ? How are you doing tonight? Civ's in the chat. It's an episode.
Lives in the house.
But yeah, so spoiler alert, we're going to be talking about our gaming goals tonight. We're going to look back at the goals that we all set for ourselves in 2022, see how we did in accomplishing those. And then, of course, we're going to set some goals for this year. But before we do that, we got to say thank you to our top tier patrons, Tim B, Yusuf H, and Joe C. Thank you guys very much. Of course, we are so grateful for your support, and all of our other patrons. You guys rule too. Thank you so much for supporting us each and every month and helping us be able to put out the content that we do. We are so grateful. Thank you so much. If you're interested in signing up or are wondering what the heck Patreon is, head over to patreon.com/showboyspodcast. It is just a way that you could sign up to support us monthly. There's 4 different tiers at different price points. They all offer their own unique benefits and perks. One of which being monthly Patreon exclusive episodes. So sign up. You can get some extra Showboys. Along with that, I just want to say welcome to any of our new subs over the last week or so. We've kind of, gotten quite a few new subs actually. So if you're listening and you're a new sub on our YouTube channel, thank you for subbing. Welcome. Hope you enjoy the show. Yeah. Do you know by chance how many we got over the last week or two?
Over the past 7 days, we got 41 new subs.
Well, hey there. That's quite a lot. So thank you guys. Do you why did we get so many new subs? Like we doing something?
I wonder what it could be.
Oh, darn. I don't have it handy.
Oh no.
Once,
but
I think it might have something to do with the fact that we are on the road to 1,000 subscribers. And once we get 1,000 subscribers, we will be giving away a brand new OLED Switch.
Yes.
To some lucky winner. Or we can split it up and give it to 3 people.
It does, it does come in 3 separate parts. That's true. Yeah, we'll leave that up to you guys, however you guys want to do that. Yeah, I think we've tossed around the idea. We haven't solidified anything yet, but we still have some wiggle room to make a final decision. But I think on this road to 1K giveaway campaign we're doing, I think we're going to try to have some sort of giveaway every 100 subscriber milestone. So we're coming up on 400. So when we hit 400, we'll do some sort of small giveaway. And when we hit 500, of course, that's when we're going to do our game giveaway. And then 6, 7, 8, 900, we'll do some more small giveaways. And then, of course, 1,000, our giveaway for the OLED Switch will start. And yeah, as we get closer to 1,000, we'll reveal the details on how you can enter to win. But yeah, subscribe if you haven't. If you're listening now and you haven't subscribed, please do so. Tell your friends or anyone you think might like our content to check us out and subscribe. Help us get to that 1,000 subscribers so we can give you a Switch. Yeah, let's do some news. We haven't done news in a while. So Nick hates the news. He didn't find any articles or fascinating news stories tonight. But Chad and I did. And Chad, why don't you kick us off here with the first piece of news tonight?
Yeah, so the article I picked was about the PlayStation 5 sales, and I think it was like CES or some sort of press conference. PlayStation had quite a presence at by showing a couple things, which is better than they've been at like E3 and other conferences as of late. But the reason I put this article in here is it sold 30 million, which is good. But the reason I put it in here is because Sony is now saying that the shortage, and I put this in quotes because I'm so freaking sick of hearing about the shortage on the PS5, is over officially. And we should be able to find these things very easily. Let me tell you,
Walmart.
If you are looking for one of these things and you have not found it and you're still on Facebook groups bitching about how you can't find it, it's your fault. Nobody else's, because these things are everywhere. I was at Best Buy. They had like 50 of them behind the counter, literally. I mean, they were stacked all the way up the wall. So it's your fault.
Well,
if
we're
you
not
haven't
in
found one of
an
these.
economically depressed area, though.
But does that matter? that would make them easier to find, wouldn't it?
No,
Yeah, because nobody's
economically
buying them.
depressed areas buy video games because that's what they do.
That's what they do.
I'm saying poor people buy video games. That's what I'm saying.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm just
Everyone
so
buys
like I
video
feel like
games. That's the
every
thing.
time that I get onto like a Facebook group that has to do with video games, someone is there bitching about how they can't find a PS5. And it's like I have people at work, like 50-year-olds that bought them for their kids for Christmas. Like, dude, if you can't find one, you're terrible. I'm sorry. It's your fault.
If the
100%.
boomers are finding them, yeah.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be an issue.
Like,
your first mistake is you're on Facebook.
Yeah.
That's your first
Yes,
mistake.
right. Yeah.
That's all people do on there is bitch. So
It's true. It's very true.
I saw two things. Firstly, GameStop kind of near me in a not so great neighborhood had a sign out like taped on their window that they had 17 available. So like, yeah,
that's
Chad,
awesome.
they're there.
Yeah.
They're there.
And then Nick, to your point about like economic hardship and video game purchasing, I saw a headline. I didn't read the article, but it was something about how video games have like survived economic hardships. Like people still find a way to make money available enough to continue to buy video games.
Yeah, they seem pretty recession proof, honestly.
Yeah,
it makes sense. Most forms of entertainment are typically that way. So
yeah. I don't. It's not too often. I don't know. I just that's not what's holding people. Like when people don't buy like new consoles, new TVs, like their economic status is not what holds them back. Like there's other things at play. Like that's one of the few things. It's almost like, not to call it a necessity, but like people rank it pretty high. Like entertainment, like everyone, like everyone, regardless, like either subscribes to streaming services, they buy and play video games. Like just because, like I know plenty of people without jobs that have like new consoles and new TVs. So I don't, you tell me.
This kind of plays into a live discussion Nick and I were having tonight, and I don't know, maybe we'll start recording those and like also tossing those on Patreon or something. I don't know, but it was a really good discussion. We were talking about PC Game Pass and just Game Pass in general. $15 a month, hundreds of new and slightly old games to play for $15 a month. Like, that's ridiculous. That is so crazy. So like we were breaking it down that like even if you subscribe to Game Pass for an entire year, it's still like it's cheaper than buying 3 new games
Yeah.
at retail price, $60+. Which is just
whole
crazy.
year of Game Pass is like three $60 games, something in that ballpark.
So yeah, I don't know. Here, I guess PSA: if you have a PC, you should have Game Pass because it's $15 a month and you can play.
Yeah,
insane.
Paid advertising.
Yeah, I'm super salty about that because I think my gaming PC is officially dead. I don't know what's wrong with
Ouch.
it, and it really bums me out because I just bought Sekiro on Steam, and you can mod Sekiro like for outfits and stuff, and I can't do it on the Steam Deck, or at least I can't figure out how to do it on the Steam Deck, and I really want to do it. It's just sitting there dead; it won't turn on. It turns on, but there's nothing on the screen, like nothing pops up. So I don't know what the heck's going on.
I can fix it.
You can fix it.
Yeah, I'm serious.
Okay, well, maybe
Drop
we'll
it
have
off.
to. We'll have
Give it
to
to
do
me
that.
for a few weeks, and I'll fix it.
Okay.
Yeah, you should do that.
Yeah, I
PC
should
gaming
because
is
it's
amazing.
become like quite the hot topic in my house because my kids used to play Roblox on it. It's like just the eyesore in the kitchen now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's more than a hot topic. That's like a crisis.
Yeah, it really is. It
Yeah,
really
speaking of kids and Roblox, I wonder what Beluga Boys 2023 gaming goals are. If you don't know, that's Ugly Kid Joe Cross's grandson. Big player and streamer of Roblox. I wonder what his gaming. I wonder what form of bread he'll eat for the first time in 2023.
Yeah.
We had a baguette for the first time in 2022. So Joe, if you're listening, you need to keep me updated. Moving on, this should come as no surprise. I have some DC news for everyone. Yay! But DC is full of news these days. James Gunn was out on Twitter saying that their plan, Gunn and company, they plan to have this DCEU, at least maybe the first phase, cover 8 to 10 years worth of movies and shows, which is exciting. And I think that's kind of the ballpark of MCU phase 1 or the Avengers saga, right? That first phase. But he also said that they're planning to make some announcements, not like a ton of announcements, but some announcements later this month, which will be nice because there's a lot of things up in the air. We have, some rumors circulating about Dwayne Johnson and Black Adam and what he was trying to do with that. Of course, Henry Cavill announced that he's returning as Superman, and then a month or so later announced that he's not returning as Superman. So there's a lot of things up in the air. We of course, the Ezra Miller drama is still ongoing, to which James Gunn kind of danced around the question of like, I don't really know what's going on with Ezra Miller. We'll see what happens there. But with all that, he did debunk the idea that Wonder Woman would not be a part of the early plan. So it looks like, I don't know if Gal Gadot will be Wonder Woman, but it looks like she is going to be a figure here in their plan. But also the following movies that were produced under the old WBDC leadership that are still planned to release this year are Shazam! Fury of the Gods, that's coming in March, The Flash coming in June, Blue Beetle coming in August, and last but not least, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom coming in December. So we still have some old ties to the former DC leadership over at WB coming out. I don't know how Gunn will use those, if he will use those, if like Aquaman, being the last movie of the year in December will be like the end of the DCEU that we know now, and then Gunn's reboot will start in 24. I don't know. That's still to be seen, but a few little updates and announcements there on the DC front. So we'll see what happens. I'm excited.
I had to look up Blue Beetle because I had in my like I feel like I've heard of Blue Beetle, but I have not heard of Blue Beetle. And I was thinking of The Tick. Do you guys remember The Tick?
Yes.
That's what
Yes.
I was thinking of. So I had to look both of those up because I was like, they're really remaking another one of those movies. Turns
Yeah,
out,
no.
totally separate.
But shout out here. I guess let's do one more announcement, a little piece of house cleaning before we get into the gaming goals. Last month's Patreon exclusive was the official introduction and the beginning of our building of the 2023 Showboys March Madness tournament, which is a new thing we're going to do. Hopefully this will be a thing we do yearly. What we're doing is holding a tournament to figure out the
Old
best
tourney.
streaming service original series in the style of the famous NCAA March Madness bracket. So what we did in our December Patreon episode, we sat down, I think it was like 2.5 hours long. We came up with like 140 shows or something across all the streaming services and whittled that down to 64 shows. So we have our 64 shows that will be facing off against each other in March. The entire month of March will be full of this tournament. Each Thursday we'll be progressing around in the bracket, starting with 64 teams until we get down to the streaming service original series champion of that last Thursday of March. We're really excited about this. This has been an idea that we've been working on for workshopping for a couple months now. We opened up a channel in our Discord for discourse on the bracket and the tournament. So we'll continue to release more details as we get closer.
Elegant. I'm sorry. It was such an elegant transition between Discord and discourse. It was beautiful. Sorry.
Thank
Just
you.
had to
Thank you.
applaud you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Every once in a while, like good things come out of
your brain.
Work for you.
But yeah, our Patreon episode this month in January, it's going to be really fun. So there's 4 people, every week on the show. You don't see Dad; he's behind the scenes, but he's here every week. And each person, Nick, myself, Chad, and Dad. Wow, that I should split you guys up when I say all of our names. We'll have a division in the bracket. And what we're going to do for our Patreon episode in January, we're going to hold a fantasy football style draft and pick the 16 shows for our division. And as we progress in the tournament, when we get down to the final 4, each host will represent their show from their division in a debate style argument against their opponent, and the other hosts will judge and determine the winner, and that's how we'll figure out the semifinals and the championship. It's going to be a blast. I'm really excited about it, so you guys should be excited about it too.
Dude, I'm trying to think, like, do you and Dad have like the pick that you're gonna be like jealous of each other over the other one gets? Because I know Chad and I have one that we're gonna be like upset when the other one gets.
Yeah.
I
don't even know the other. I don't even know. Yeah, I don't even know the other shows. To be honest with you, it's gonna be a total surprise. For me,
Also,
I don't even know what you guys picked.
Spoiler alert! A little behind the scenes action. This is the first time Chad's heard anything about this idea.
Yeah,
he's right there with you guys, listeners. Chad's like, wait, what are we doing? No, I don't know if Dad and I have a show that will be that we're like locking our eyes on during this draft. The draft is going to be interesting. Oh, well, you just put it in chat. Why would you do that? Now I'm going to steal it away from you.
I think that was a false placement there.
I don't know. But yeah, it should be really fun. I'm excited. It's going to be a wild ride. So without further ado, let's get into our gaming goals. Let's go over our goals from 2022, see what we accomplished, and then we'll move into 2023. We have some Answer the Boys replies to from our Discord members on their gaming goals for this year. So, Chad, why don't you start us off? What were your 2022 goals, and what did you end up accomplishing?
Yeah, so my first goal was to build a comprehensive guide for Sekiro. That ended up being a thing that I did. So I'm super excited about that. I won't harp on the quality of said walkthrough, but
redo it.
You live and you learn. You live and you learn. I'm there. I'm almost there. I almost want to. The second one was to give my Switch a little bit more love this year. And I think I accomplished that. I think I played Fire Emblem Three Houses this year. Something else on the Switch. But the unfortunate part of that is the Switch is effectively dead to me now that I have a Steam Deck. Like, it's going to take Breath of the Wild 2 coming out for me to probably ever touch that thing again. I don't even know where it's at, to be honest with you. So we'll put that up as a win. And then my third one was to not allow myself to get a big backlog of games, especially through the early half of this year, which was like Elden Ring, Horizon, Sifu within like a month of each other. And I did pretty good at that. I don't have a backlog of games. I missed God of War, but I wasn't really probably ever going to play God of War. So I think I effectively hit all three of my goals this year. So
nice.
Wow. The art there is having 3 goals, I think.
Yeah. That's a good completion ratio you got there.
Yeah.
You're telling me play Ghost of Tsushima like 7 more times wasn't a goal?
Yeah, I'm playing through it again. I should have made it a goal.
So how did you give the Switch more love?
Yeah, I played Fire Emblem Three Houses, which is a pretty substantial game on there.
Right.
There was something else that I played that I'm totally Triangle Strategy I played on the Switch. So I actually gave my Switch a lot more love. Yeah, a lot more love than it had.
Summertime, you played a lot of Switch, I think.
Yeah. Definitely.
It's funny. Every time I go to the library, I text Chad and I'm like, "Is it 3 hopes or 3 houses?" Every single.
It's becoming a weekly thing.
Dude,
it's like Mike when he asked me how.
Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I was gonna say it's like Mike when he asked me how to do a drop down in Google Sheets.
Yeah,
it's like
every time I ask him.
But it's so funny because we're probably, like, no joke, like 5 or 6 weeks into this question every week. And this week you were like, dude, they have 3 hopes. And I was
I was like, I was confident. I was like, they have the one.
I had a fucking alternate.
Why is it 3 hopes?
Like, it's not 3 hopes. It's not.
Why is it?
Okay, so
like hope is a random word against house.
Well, yeah. So there's Fire Emblem Three Houses, which is the one that I'm trying to get him to play, which is the mainline Fire Emblem game. And then there's Fire Emblem Three Hopes, which is a Dynasty style or Dynasty Warrior style spinoff of Three Houses. So it's called Three Hopes because they can't name it Three Houses, obviously. Yeah. And he's just having a hard fucking time.
Okay, so there's a thing out there. I thought he was pulling hope just out of the ether because I started with Age. I was like, wow.
Games. They're 2 separate games.
It's real. Okay, it's not like fever dreaming every time.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely sounded like a boomer. Yeah, because I am a boomer.
3 hopes at the library with your library card out, trying to check. Do you guys have a look at your written down piece of paper, like squinting?
Hey,
the 19-year-old behind the desk is just like looking at you, like on her phone, like, "Can I help you?"
Yeah, jeez, get out of here.
Are you dying?
I'll make my second PSA tonight. I've been preaching this for basically, the greater part of this year. If you have a library by you, like, go there and look for games. Like our local library, we're not like, living in luxury here in Canton, Ohio, but like very large selection of PlayStation games, Xbox games, and I wouldn't say like extremely large, but a very like good selection of Switch games.
Yeah.
And you can just borrow them for 2 weeks at a time. And it's amazing. I've done it.
Really borrow them
times.
Indefinitely. as long as no one puts a hold on them, because they
Yes,
automatically
that's true.
renew, or you can automatically renew them, one or the other. Yeah, it's a great deal. And that currently they just have such a huge stock, especially at PS4 games. There's like a huge wall, like Family Dollar or Family Video style wall of games that you can go select.
Yeah.
Rip.
And for you, I don't know if Family Video is like a regional thing or not, but like Blockbuster or any type of video store, like massive wall
Yeah.
of games.
Yeah, so I thought for the longest time that Family Video was like a local thing, but isn't it in the most recent season of Stranger Things? Don't they work at a Family Video? Pretty sure that
Is
they
it a-
do.
I
Pretty sure
think
that
you're
they do.
right.
Yeah. So when I saw that, I was like, oh man, maybe it's not a local.
Dude, I love
It's not
Family
a local
Video.
place. Yeah, I kind of miss it. I'm not gonna lie.
We had one
was
Yeah,
like
it's a
yeah.
family video.
Yeah.
we had one 3 minutes down the road
Damn.
from my house, and
Yeah.
it sold a couple years ago. And since it sold, Nick and I have been, well, I don't know if he does anymore, but every time I drive past it, which is almost daily, I'm like, man, that would be the most rad, like physical office location for Showboys.
Yeah.
It's
Like,
like
next to
perched
like
up
an
on,
old.
the intersection up on the little hill, like
Yeah.
Right
just
by
big
by
glass
like
block. Yeah.
and we have what do you call Oakwood Square? Like, what is that? Shopping
plaza?
plaza?
Yeah.
Like,
no, it's just
that
like
was kind of
strip
ran
mall.
into the ground and is now being developed and like got a bunch of cool restaurants. They're building like an outdoor amphitheater there. So like
oh yeah.
that little corner is starting to become like a little more prevalent in our area, which is really cool. But
You
yeah,
say
every time.
that one's like 3 minutes from you, but there was also like another one 5 minutes from you, 7 minutes from you, and like 8 minutes from
There
you.
were like a million family videos
Yeah.
around here.
Yeah. And now they're all like Dollar Trees or Dollar General.
Yeah, pretty much.
Subways, Dollar Trees.
Yeah, it's Subway. It's half Subway,
Marco's
half
Pizza.
Dollar General.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they split it.
Rip Family Videos. But yeah, I did look into it though. I like at first, one day I was like, let's just pretend I had money, and I looked it up, and it was like just shy of $1 million to buy, and I was like, are you kidding me? Like
Wow.
$900,000 to buy this Family Video?
That's a little excessive. Yeah.
No wonder it's still empty.
Right.
Because it's been empty for like since it went out of business. Anyways, I digress. Nick, 2022 gaming goals. How'd you do? What were they?
Man, I had 10 goals, which is probably a mistake for
10
me.
goals. My goodness. I keep it nice
Um,
and discreet. 3.
Yeah.
I say
feel like
dang, but I
even-
had 9, so I
Dang.
just counted.
I think I'm like a solid 40% complete, right? So Witcher 3, that one's like, I'll give that one just like a neutral. Did not pass or fail on that
Yeah,
one.
I feel like that
because
should never be on anyone's goal because that's like unattainable.
it was just like a play thing because I was playing it at the time of the episode. And then I was anticipating the next gen release update to come out like middle of last year, but we had to wait till like December last year, like a month ago. So, that one was parked there. I don't know why I put Witcher 2 on there. Like that was just stupid. So, there's no way I was going to get that done. AC Odyssey, I was playing at the time, but that was a fail. But I had like a sub point there to finish AC Origins DLC, which I did do. I didn't completely finish all the DLC, but I did get through 80% of the DLC. But that's a game that I've like touched and gone on for like the past 5 years. So I'm confident I will eventually finish it. And I did get a lot of achievements in the base game and all that. I'm gonna platinum that game. I must, for as much as I've talked that game up.
Yeah.
And maybe that's a sub goal that could have been added in retrospect is I got Chad to play it and agree with me that it's like the best Assassin's Creed of like the new generation of
Yeah, I
Assassin's
agree. Yeah.
Creeds. Divinity Original Sin 2, that was kind of baked into like a Showboys agenda thing, but that kind of like died.
Mhm.
So, and plus I
Well,
played
a few of us
I tried to
still own Divinity Original Sin 2, so maybe someday.
maybe someday I own it. But yeah, but I also started playing it, and it was not what I thought it was, and it's just like a whole different animal than something I'd want to tackle on my own.
Yeah.
God of War 4 never really got much further than that. I think someday I'd want to play it, but
Is that
failed there.
technically 2018 or is
Yeah,
4? Yeah, okay.
4 was the
Yeah, it's the
RPG
20.
overhaul.
Yeah.
You know me, healthily 3-4 years behind the trend.
I do wanna play
Return to
that one.
Humankind. I did do this. I did Return to Humankind and play that some more. Enough to kind of determine it needs a lot of work. Not that there's anything wrong with. Not that it's like the end game's busted. Basically, like after the mid game, you kind of stall out. So they need to really kind of rework things over time. So good for it's a very good like early mid game though for sure, but it definitely runs out of steam into the late game. More Civ 6. Definitely in the first half of the year, I did play some Civ 6, but I've really fallen off of Civ 6 second half of the year here. More Valheim, definitely check that little box.
It's like adding breathing to your goals, your New Year's resolutions.
Yeah. So that was an easy win. And I'm going to say I failed this next one. Play more games that I already own or played. Because I think what 2022 was for me was like kind of a pivot in my approach to gaming, which will kind of shine when you hear my next set of goals. So definitely I didn't pass that. I definitely bought some games this year.
Yeah.
And this last one doesn't count. It's buy a new TV, and this is just pressure from Chad. But I did not end up doing that in that year.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Very
So
unfortunate.
maybe
you could
half of
probably
that.
get an LG C2 right now for pretty cheap because they just announced the new one. The new
I
one's coming
know.
out, and
Sam's
it's like,
all the
yeah,
wait, the Sony or the
LG.
I saw Samsung announced their new TVs for this year.
Yeah,
and
maybe
Sony as
they
well.
probably do it all at that CES or whatever that
Mm.
conference is. So
See, that's what I'm all about.
yeah,
You get that second year, third year discount.
right.
Get a couple models out there.
Those are
Yeah.
my favorite discounts, dude.
Yeah. But yeah, it was okay. I definitely hit a weird third quarter lull. Definitely a good like first half of the year, and then like I don't know, yeah, third like end of summer was just I did like no gaming, and then I kind of restarted gaming in like Q4 and have a new approach. I think mildly refined.
You bring up Origins, and I was like vigorously trying to log into my Ubisoft launcher, and because I have like, you talk about being a solid 2-3 years behind the trend. I am probably like 6 or 7 years behind the trend. But in doing so, like, I'm definitely gaming on a budget. So I look out for like every free game offer that is like ever presented. I feel like, I'm on Twitch a lot during work, throw it up on one of the monitors. They have notifications for when Prime games go free. And they offer games across all different platforms. I'm in a Discord server that has like a gaming sale and deals channel that auto pings everyone when free games on notable platforms go up for free. So I've snagged a ton of games on Epic for free lately. But I opened up Ubisoft and I have Origins, Valhalla, Watch Dogs, and Watch Dogs 2 that I somehow compiled. And then my Epic launcher is just plastered of older games that we got for free.
Watch Dogs they really started handing out this past year for whatever reason.
Which is odd because I feel like it's dead. Like maybe they're working on another one, but I feel like they're not working on it.
Well, that's why it's free. Like it's dead, so they might as well just give it to everyone.
Just give it away. Like we failed. Just give it away.
It'll go well with our episode pops up next week. So
yeah, I will say that that's probably the first Watch Dogs game next to the original Division is probably the biggest letdown game I've ever played in my life, compared from the E3 gameplay trailers for those games to what we got on release. It's like, it's unreal, dude. It's unreal because they looked so good. They like, I don't know, dude. You just have to go watch them to understand.
Man, you want to hear part 2 of Nick and I's pre-episode conversation that directly applies to this conversation right now? Waiting like a year or two until a game's like been out really is like the best way to go. You're going to be able to pick it up at sometimes a steep discount, but secondly, not specific to your example, but like say like a Cyberpunk or really the majority of any new game that comes out these days, you got a year or two of patches of solidifying and fixing a game that probably wasn't complete upon release. And then if you get lucky, like you can even snag a definitive edition or something with all the DLC for probably cheaper than buying the game new when it came out anyways.
I think where I get hung up on that approach is that like I've already been waiting for some of these games for years. I don't want to wait another additional 2 years after they release. You know what I mean?
So I just got to live under a rock.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's hard to do.
So like,
don't wait.
When I fire up Watch Dogs, I'm just going to be pleasantly surprised because I don't even remember the announcement at E3 because it's been so long.
Lucky you.
Yeah. Speaking of announcements that everyone forgets about, you know, when half of the internet's like, the Bad Batch, it's out already? What?
I saw that too. Yeah.
I mean, they said it at like 3 months ago. They were like, January, it's coming. It's here.
I didn't.
And everyone was like,
announcement.
whoa, it's coming that soon. And then everyone, like 6 months later, the other half of the people that didn't pick up on it were like, whoa, Bad Batch is here. Announce stuff and you just forget about it.
Yeah. Civ says Watch Dogs 2 is great though.
Yeah. I would agree with you on that. I have some complaints with it, but it's mainly with the protagonist and the way that you play, because it's, you know, like when you're playing Grand Theft Auto, you're playing as a shitbag. You know, you're playing as a shitbag. You're a killer. You're a piece of crap. But in Watch Dogs 2, they try to frame him as not a piece of crap, but you're also like, you're doing all this like nerdy stuff and being cool and hip. And then you're going out and murdering police officers. It wasn't locking in for me. So, but the gameplay improvements, I agree, are vastly superior to the second.
There are 3 Watch Dog games, right?
There are. And the third one,
1, 2, and Legion?
Legion. Yeah. And the third one, I really want to play. I think I actually already own it. But you can recruit and play as any NPC in the game, which I think is a cool concept and a cool way to take the franchise that was really kind of riding Grand Theft Auto's back, or trying to, at least, while doing something different slightly. So I think that's a cool way to approach an open world game where you can just play as literally anybody that you walk by on the street.
Civ says Legion was terrible.
Yeah, that's a unique take. I think that it got pretty decent reviews. So
I did not know Legion and 2 were different. I thought those are the same game. So
it's definitely an opinion. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know anything about it. We went from Legion backwards to 2.
Yikes.
Like how you played it, or are you saying in general, like
the world?
Yeah.
Unless he has like a friend in his pocket and he's like, we played this game. And I think he means the greater collective.
So Nick, you said you're at like a 40% clip on completion of your goals.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm I mean, I guess if you factor in my partials, maybe I hit 40%. But Civ, he retorts, he says, we tried Legion, hated it, and played 2 and loved it.
All right, he might have a friend with it.
He might have a friend with him, yeah.
Maybe
like I picture a gecko or something on his shoulder.
He does have a son who plays games a lot. Maybe
maybe that's it. I think the cool thing is there's hitmen that you can get in Legion where they literally do like John Wick style gun fu fights, and then you can fight with them. Like, that's just cool. That's just cool. So
can't top the gung fu.
All right. So since you guys asked, So my goals. My 2022 gaming goals was not as successful as Chad. I don't think anyone could be as successful as Chad. But first goal was to continue the Showboys gaming presence and streaming content. Between Chad and I think we collectively hit that one out of the park.
Whoa. Wait, so Chad had another goal? He just didn't know it?
No. But he handles the. Well, yeah. He had another goal that was.
That sounds like a
assigned to
shared
him
goal. Like, it's a
arbitrarily.
way out of that one.
But he produces a lot of content for the Showboys Gaming YouTube channel. Shout out, you should go subscribe. I focus streaming on Twitch, and that gets ported over to YouTube. But we, Chad put out a bunch of cool walkthroughs and playthrough videos. He's doing his Madden stream with his son, which is really cool. We grew the Twitch channel to affiliate. I streamed a bunch of games that I probably would have never played if it wasn't for streaming. So that was really cool. So that's been a really fun thing. Glad I set that as a goal and glad that I was able to follow through on that. To go along with it, I had a goal to get some sort of community game night going with Showboys, and that didn't really happen. But I count this as a partial completion because I did my Resident Evil co-stream with Civ. We have the Dungeons and Dragons.
I was going to say, does
stream.
I think Dungeons and Dragons falls into that.
Yeah,
if I'm being honest.
I think this one, I was thinking more of like
Divinity.
Every other Friday night, like whoever's in Discord, we can go play. Like I would never play Fall Guys, but as an example, like Fall Guys or a game where a bunch of people can come in and play all together. But yeah, and then Dad and I started a co-stream of Resident Evil 6, which we'll continue with. So I count that as like a kinda. I had a goal to play through the Mass Effect Legendary Edition. I played through the first one, so that's a start. I plan on playing through the second and third. I really enjoyed the first one. So again, partially, yeah.
Well, the misstep there, I believe you would have if you didn't leave it up to the silly voters in Discord.
Yeah.
If you would just not
That
let
is
them...
right. So that was something that I struggled with within internally of like every time I would beat a game on stream, I would post a poll in Discord and have people vote on what game I would stream next, and I would put like 3 to 5 options. For a while, Mass Effect 2 was on every poll, but it just would barely lose to whatever game I ended up streaming. Which
Tell you why.
Was, I don't think it was frustrating, but I did really want to play Mass Effect 2. But I would honor the poll and play whatever won, which turned out to be an amazing thing because I ended up playing a bunch of games that I would have never played before.
Yeah.
Like Detroit Become Human,
right,
which was awesome.
Yeah.
Amazing game. Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle. Would never played that. It was an amazing game. Lost in Random. Amazing game. There were a couple other ones too. So it was like a disappointing, but also like it ended up being a good thing. But yeah, Mass Effect 2 at the very least will happen in 2023 at some point. I had a goal to complete a Nuzlocke challenge to finish. I attempted a few and got 4 or 5 badges into one before I lost. So that was a major improvement from my prior attempts. So we'll give that a partial. I had enjoy the crap out of Pokemon Legends Arceus, which definitely happened.
Check.
I had get into blockchain, play to earn, NFT centric games. I put this as a no, but I did try a Hearthstone like NFT digital card game, which was okay, but those games I struggled to really get into anyway. So that ended up not happening. Play through the Resident Evil series entirely from 1 to Village. I played. Did I play?
You kind of bounced
2?
around, didn't you? You played 2, 1, and 5.
2, 1, and 5, and started 6. So kind of. We played half almost, or started half.
That was a lofty goal, so I would give it to you because for playing 4 games out of 8 games, 7 games,
Yeah.
You might as well take the win on that one. That was ambitious.
Yeah, I guess I didn't realize that. I know 1 was this year, but I didn't realize 2 was also this year. So I did play 1, 2, 5 with Civ, and I started 6 with Dad. So yeah, halfway through, I'll count that as a goal. I had create some more gaming memories with the kids, which happened actually, which was really cool. My oldest daughter got into Pokemon. She started her own playthrough of Shield, and it was really cool because she's in 2nd grade now. She's been watching me play Pokemon pretty much her whole life, and both kids. I have 3, but one's 1-year-old, so she doesn't pay attention to this stuff. But the 5 and 7-year-old have grown up watching me play Pokemon and talk about Pokemon, so they're like interested in it. The 7-year-old was like, "Hey, can I start Pokemon?" And I was like, "Sure." She was watching me play Violet, and I was like, "I'll let you play Shield." So she started a game, but she's old enough to where I can just hand it to her, and she can read everything and figure out how to play it, which was really cool. And yeah, so watching her play that was fun. We got them, or my sister got them Mario Kart 8 for Christmas. So Mario Kart was a game that we frequently borrowed from the library over the last year, and playing that with them and watching them play was hilarious. And they always like to play Just Dance. Watching them play that is hysterical. But yeah, a lot of cool gaming memories with the kids. Which is one thing that I really like about your Madden streams, Chad, is like it's got to be so cool to play with Brady and
it's really cool.
Because I have a lot of.
It's really cool, and Roman currently is playing through Sekiro, so I think that's like freaking awesome. He's playing on the Steam Deck, and he's played a lot of Sekiro on the PS5, and he's recently gotten back into samurai stuff with me, probably because I'm into it right now. So it's always cool to play games with him. Certainly, like Madden with Brady, because he's like a walking NFL book. Like any question you ask him, he'll know the answer to. And it's super cool.
Listening to him talk about Justin Jefferson.
While
you guys stream that, it's so funny.
And we're currently working through a season as the Vikings right now. So we switched teams and got to keep Jefferson because he's like the greatest thing ever. So
I have a lot of memories from when I was younger of playing like Super Nintendo stuff, Donkey Kong, Ken Griffey Jr., Slugfest. With my dad. Looking to create some of those memories with my girls.
Definitely. And I always wonder, because like, does that stuff stick in our brains? Because like I have those memories with my dad as well, playing Jet Moto specifically on the PlayStation. But does that like stick in our brains because it was like so infrequent? Or like, are our kids going to remember playing games with us? Because I do it like every day, pretty much, like it's just a normal piece of life here.
I mean, from my memory, we played a lot.
Yeah, so did I mean, I guess my dad and I did too. And the really cool thing about Jet Moto is when I got the PS3, I don't know what year it was in, but they had Jet Moto on the store. So we sat down and played it like, 15 years later.
Nice.
We revisited it. It was really cool.
Yeah, shout out to my dad. I don't know if he listens, but if he does, he still plays Madden every year.
Yeah.
And he'll play through so many franchise seasons that they'll force him to retire.
Yeah.
So he's still going strong, man.
He's
playing Madden like crazy. And he used to love like that Hot Shots golf game.
Yeah, my dad loved that too. That's hilarious.
And then my last goal, which I failed miserably because I don't think I've picked it up since slamming through it on release, and that was to hit master rank again in Pokemon Unite. And I did not do that. I hardly played Pokemon Unite this year. I grinded real hard when it released, hit master rank, and then put it down. Haven't picked it back up. But I'm always interested. I'll throw on some streamers who are playing it. And like they've released a ton of new Pokemon to play as, which all look super cool. And it's always interesting to see what Pokemon they add to the roster out of the like nearly 1,000 Pokemon that exist into this League of Legends like Pokemon game. And I always see it, and I'm always like, man, I should get back in. That game's fun. But it doesn't. I mean, it's on the Switch, so it doesn't run like super great.
Yeah, right.
It's good enough. But there are like some lag issues, and some lag issues are enough to drive me insane in a competitive game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I failed miserably on that. So those were my goals. So I'd say 4 out of 9, and then like 3 partials. It was a decent year for my goals, I think. One thing I did want to mention is one of our Answer the Boys replies when we asked for your guys's goals for 23. Ugly Kid Joe Cross, he chimed in. He said, I do not make gaming goals. I feel like making a goal revolving around gaming is just a way to feel pressured to game when I would not feel like leading to a deep resentment for something that I truly enjoy, which is an interesting comment, and I think valid and has some truth to it. But his comment made me think that after we did this episode last year, I completely forgot about all the goals I set and had no idea what my goals were until yesterday when I, started working on the show notes, and I was like, oh, okay. And so it's interesting looking back, seeing what I actually did
hit.
without, even with completely forgetting about the goals that I set for myself.
Yeah, it's not like a regimented goal list. It's kind of just been fun to say, hey, beginning of the year, this is kind of what I think or want to achieve this year. And let's see if I get anywhere with it. I mean, get nowhere with it. And maybe that's my argument for you, Chad, to like expand your goals, because don't hit them all. Don't get them all knocked out.
Yeah,
Let's see which ones fall through.
I feel like if you make too many goals, you end up not hitting any of them. You know what I mean? I think if you keep it nice and condensed, you end up hitting everything that you made a goal for, which is kind of the goal of making goals.
Did you remember your goals throughout the year, or did you just by chance hit them?
I think I probably in the back of my mind did. But yeah, probably, because I knew that I wanted to make that Sekiro guide. That was always the thing. The Switch thing was really like itching at me to pick that thing back up, and then the backlog. That's always like down. Yeah. And then the backlog thing. That's always like a constant fight that I'm having is trying to play through.
Yeah,
and not get a backlog.
I feel like that meme of the guy walking with his girlfriend or whatever, looking at the other girl, like that's Chad, his Switch and the Steam Deck.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, for sure.
Except he's fully with the other girl now.
Yeah. He just straight up. He just turned around and started walking with the other one. Are your gaming goals something that you consciously thought of, Nick, throughout the year?
I don't think so. No. The AC Origins one was more conscious. Like that was one this year. I was like, I definitely want to get this done. Probably like Chad's Sekiro walkthrough. Other than that was probably the only one that I consciously went back to. Maybe Humankind, because that was kind of at the time something I wanted to get back to. So there's so many. Some of them yes, most of them no, and that's probably why a lot of them just kind of disappeared into the ether.
Yeah. Looking back, I think the only one. Well, I mean, obviously, like the Showboys Gaming thing, was something because it had to do with the brand and the podcast and all that.
Cheater.
But like, really, the only one that probably remained in my head after that episode was the Legends Arceus one, because that game came out in January, like a couple weeks after that episode. So obviously that was going to be fresh on my mind. But like, Yeah, looking back on these, I honestly was surprised reading the goals that I set, and then equally as surprised at the results after reflecting. Yeah, so with that being said, let's jump into our 2023 goals, and let's tackle the answer the boys replies. We got two outside of Joe's that we already read. First one coming from another Joe, Spider Trainer Joe, which shout out, really awesome streamer, streams League of Legends and Pokemon community game. Super cool dude, love this guy. Go watch him if you're interested in either of those things on Twitch, Spider Trainer Joe. He says, I guess my gaming goals this year is really just to hit diamond or higher in League of Legends. It's a great goal, ambitious goal. But I think he can do it. You know what, Joe, if you're listening, I believe in you. You can do it, man. Anyways. Sorry, that got really intense.
Gary V'd it up there for a minute, didn't you?
Yeah, you know, can't help myself. Because I understand how difficult that is.
Yeah.
Because it's a hard game, and it's probably the most toxic online community
I'm sure
in the entire world.
Yeah.
That has ever existed and probably will ever exist. So like put those two things together. Grinding ranked for a whole year it's rough. You might as well just fasten yourself to the couch and make yourself watch Black Mirror on repeat for an entire year. Our next reply comes from Ben from the Dragoon Effect podcast. He says, I'm pretty sure I hit my gaming goals that I didn't really set because I had 212 games finished / equivalents.
That's insane.
Yeah. As for my 2023 goals, they are finish Final Fantasy 13 trilogy, try to play Final Fantasy 15. This is quittable, which I'm assuming he means that he's giving himself an out for that goal. Play Final Fantasy 16, Crisis Core Reunion, Fear trilogy, Resistance trilogy. Resistance, like the old PlayStation games, I loved those. Those were awesome. If that's what he's talking about. Splinter Cell Hexology, Jedi Survivor, great game. You need to get that one in soon, buddy. You got till March before. Oh no, I'm thinking Fallen Order.
One. Yeah,
Jedi Survivor. Do you guys think that'll hit Game Pass? We were talking about Game Pass earlier. You got EA Play as part of Game Pass.
Yeah.
Fallen Order's on Game Pass.
I don't know. I think EA waits a little bit to put their games on there, like a couple months, 6 months.
When's that game come out?
March.
Oh, it'll be there by the end of summer.
I know that EA has like a plus.
Yeah.
That's like an extra cost on top of Game Pass or separate from Game Pass, where everything is like free day one. But anyways, Jedi Survivor, Resident Evil 4 remake should be fire. Like a Dragon Ishin,
yes.
Ishin.
Yeah.
I know that's a game on your radar, Chad.
Yeah, which let me just, because this kind of plays into one of my goals we'll talk about later, but let me vent about something with that game real quick. So I've been waiting for that game for a while. That is the Japanese game that I bought and went through all the hoops to jump through.
On your Japanese account.
On my Japanese account, and I had to buy like a Japanese yen card online to be able to even buy it. Anyway, go watch the episode if you want to hear the full story. They're finally releasing it to the West, okay? But it's not getting an English dub, which, okay, fine. It's a samurai game. It takes place in Japan, ye old Japan. I get it. But if you want this thing to sell, it's got to have an English dub. And their excuse is ridiculous. Their excuse is it's old time Japanese, so we wouldn't be able to translate it into English. That's bullshit because you have subtitles that you're putting in the game. Just have the voice actors read the subtitles. What do you mean you can't translate it? It doesn't even make sense.
That's like saying you don't know what they're saying.
Right.
That's goofy.
But we do because you're putting subtitles.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, okay, sorry. You brought that game up and I'm buying it day one.
That's rant worthy.
Yeah, I'm pissed.
But maybe they kind of hear of the preference a lot of Western anime watchers have for just watching the dub or the sub.
I get that, but I truly believe in my soul if this thing had a dub, it would sell as good as Tsushima or
Right.
Sekiro or the games that have the dubs, because there are a vast amount of people that also watch dubbed anime. You know what I mean? Otherwise, they wouldn't make dubbed anime. So, yeah, I mean, I'll deal with it. It's better than completely in Japanese with Japanese writing and Japanese voices that I couldn't understand whatsoever. So, you know, I can't complain too much. I just wish they would throw a dub in there.
Yeah, at least you'll be able to like navigate the game.
Right. Yeah. Right. And it's funny because I actually started playing it a little bit like a week or two ago, and I'm like, dude, it's so hard. I didn't think it would be that hard, but it is.
Nice. He continues on. Potentially play the entire Mega Man Battle Network collection. Oh, yes. Marvel's Midnight Suns, which is interesting to me because it's one of those turn-based tactics games, which I've become a fan of. Final Fantasy IX Remaster, River City Girls 2. I don't know what that is. Sounds weird. Fire Emblem Engage. Continue hoping Hellblade's Senua's Saga and Alan Wake 2 drop this year, and then play them. That is quite the ambitious list, Ben, but I expect nothing less from you.
He played 212 games last year, so
yeah,
I didn't see 212 games on his list, so he must be lowballing himself.
Right. There was quite a comparison between Ben and another avid Discord user of ours, Chef Yak, on games completed last year. I don't know who won, but I'm going to say it was a close call. But yeah, thank you, Joe and Ben and Joe, for answering the boys this week. We appreciate that. And I think actually during the episode tonight, we made a decision behind the scenes that we're going to start opening up to Answer the Boys, maybe to our community tab here on YouTube. So be on the lookout for that. You can answer the boys. Also, you can answer the boys if you're listening live. You can comment in your gaming goals while we're talking here, and we'll read them and we'll talk about them. So yeah, let us know what your goals are. Real quick, breaking news that Nick will dearly care about because he's a big fan of the sports ball. But this is a story that's been very fascinating to me. I'm sure everyone's heard of the Bills-Bengals thing.
Yeah, I watched it live.
Yeah. The NFL has announced that the game, Week 17 Bills-Bengals game, will not be resumed and has been canceled.
Yeah, so I do have some questions about that because I also just saw that. And I think they announced it earlier today. But, like, what happens with fantasy? Because I'm in the finals. I'm waiting. He's got, like, 2 or 3 people on the Bills.
I think it's a commish thing. Like, so I'm also in Fantasy League, and our finalists had players from both teams. And our commissioner was like, put it up to the league as a vote, like, if the vote passes, we'll allow these teams to use those players' scores from Week 18, so this weekend's games, in their Week 17 fantasy matchup. Our game is like the one dude is 96% favored to win already. Like it's a big blowout. So like I'm like it's 99. Not even gonna matter.
Right. That's where I'm at, and I am the commissioner, so I'm like, do I really
well,
care?
There you go. I mean, problem solved, right?
Yeah, he's got like Buffalo's backup running back and Cincinnati's defense or something ridiculous to go.
So if you're not aware, if you're not into the sports realm, or maybe, I don't know, I'm sure the story has broken outside of the sports realm, but the most insane thing happened during the game. Like, I was in the middle of streaming and my phone was blowing up with all the updates. And then after I ended my stream, I went and watched SportsCenter for like an hour and a half because it was just insane. Bill's cornerback makes a tackle on a Cincinnati receiver, looks seemingly routine, like nothing crazy out of the ordinary, stands up, immediately collapses because he went into cardiac arrest and
literally died.
Yeah. Literally died on the field.
Yeah.
Was resuscitated, taken to the hospital. He just woke up today. And has been improving, which is awesome. But
which is good because, I mean, I think he was on a ventilator, and it's not a very good ratio of coming off that ventilator or percentage to come off of that ventilator alive. So,
right.
Yeah, it's cool. The first thing that he asked was who
Yeah.
won the game, which I think is
What a
hilarious.
football guy.
And yeah. But it was cool because I don't want to say it was cool because we
Wow.
watched it live, Brady and I. And you know, he had like so many freaking questions during it because it was I mean, it was absurd because you see injuries all the time in the NFL, right? But
Mhm.
this was like you could tell this was different. You could
I
look
mean,
at the players.
players
They were
sobbing on
bawling.
the field.
Yeah. And I'm like, what? And they had encircled what was going on in the field, so you couldn't see what was going on. You just saw all the players literally bawling. I'm like, what the? Like, he must be really messed up. And then the ESPN dude or whoever broadcaster was like, they've been performing CPR for the past 9 minutes. I'm like, holy crap! Like, so I
Yeah,
went back
it
and watched the
was-
video, and I was like, really? Like, what?
It was wild.
So
I
their
saw a bunch of people on
explanation.
Twitter get angry at someone for a tweet that they made, like
Yeah.
something about.
Yeah.
I saw that.
Yeah, just totally disregarded him and was like, dude, what's the NFL going to do with this game? It was a big.
Right.
The other thing about this is
It's
this
a
is maybe
very
the
important
biggest
game.
maybe the biggest game in the AFC this year. So
Yeah.
But
yeah,
it
was
was
nuts.
cool.
I mean, like,
Yeah.
that just in and of itself, absolutely crazy. But also, like, they just stopped the game. They're just like,
Stopped it,
yeah,
yeah,
we're not
straight
going to
up.
play. Obviously.
And I was so impressed at how quickly that stadium emptied too. Like packed to the brim stadium, and it was emptied in what seemed like 5 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
was like,
I mean, it had me like glued to the TV because it was just
Yeah.
literally, this has never really happened before.
Right. And it's so when you look at the explanation of the injury, it's shocking that this hasn't happened more often. I understand that it's very rare for what happened.
So I think like the explanation is, obviously I am just speculating, but I think as what I've gathered from, my daily sports show consumption is like, there's this rare condition where if you get hit in the chest, like at the perfect angle, at the perfect timing where your heart's like in between beats, it just like shocks it and like stops it.
Yep. That's exactly it. And it's actually, I believe it also works in the reverse too. They don't teach it anymore, but used to in like EMT school, they would teach, and I can't remember the name of it, but punching somebody that you see go into cardiac arrest in the chest to bolt their heart back up. So it works in the reverse too. But yeah, you would think the hit didn't look that hard. So I don't think it has to be a hard hit.
Yeah.
And they're like shoulder pads protect their chest. I was like,
it was just
good for him because he doesn't have a heart condition. I don't think that's what that means. It was just like poor timing.
Just the most worst random thing ever to happen.
Yeah.
But another thing I learned is like that has actually happened not a whole ton of times, but enough times to make it somewhat frequent in baseball.
Really?
Like pitchers getting hit from line drives.
Oh, wow.
And apparently also it's a thing that is somewhat frequent in children, like because their bodies are not as developed, so they don't have as much protection in their muscles and all that stuff. Anyways, totally random thing, but it was just something that captivated me this week, and it's really cool that he's like recovering and all that stuff. But yeah, it was wild, something I have never seen before.
Yeah.
But anyways, that was our answer to the boys and then random sports segment. So thank you guys. Let's get into our 2023 goals. Nick, let's start with you. What goals are you setting for yourself tonight? Or I guess tonight, but for this year?
Well, I think loosely in order here of importance, or like want to do, I think, loosely. There's definitely some shifting. I can't perfectly order it. But finish Dragon Ball Z Kakarot and get into the DLC of that. They keep releasing DLC for it. So I definitely want to finish the base game and get into the DLC I own. I really enjoyed that game last year, second half of last year. Picked it up on a really good sale and really enjoyed it. I only paused it because I wanted to start the anime over and kind of catch up. But that's a lofty target for starting all the way back like 500 episodes of both Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. So we'll see. I'll probably start playing it before I get any further. And Dragon Ball. Finish Red Dead Redemption 2. I think that's a doable thing. Like, I'm just talking about finishing the story, just because that's just a really good game. And I'm definitely enjoying it. Very nice period piece too. 1899, right? Just really captures like kind of America and like the West in that time period, which is really cool.
Yeah, and it's the cool thing about that is that's a little past it, but if you think like the samurai era was still going on in Japan around that time, which is wild to think about, you know?
Yeah, and
That
it's
is
cool because right. And well, yeah, in World War II, they were still pulling their swords during like machine gun fights.
Right.
But it's also cool, like where I'm at in the story is it's basically I'm in the state, the zone that is like supposed to be like the South, and the Civil War was like 60 years or so before like this time period. So like they kind of reference the Civil War the same way we would reference like World War II, or maybe even a little more sooner, like the Vietnam War.
Yeah.
So I think that's cool, kind of like context. So it's just
what are you
nice
playing on PC?
PS5.
PS5.
Yeah. Why?
I was just curious because I want to go back and revisit that game, but you know how I am with the PS5 updates. I don't think it has a PS5 update yet.
No, it doesn't. I don't think it does.
Yeah, they just totally forgot about the game, which is really annoying because it's really good.
It's too good to update, I guess.
That's been one of the games that has been on my wish list for probably like 2 years on Steam. Like I'm just, it's at that discount now where it's under $20. Like I think I can find it for like 16.
Yeah.
And so I might buy it soon. But
yeah, that's a steal, honestly.
Yeah,
it's a massive game. It's a massive game.
But I mean, I want to finish it this year, and it's just like one of those. The way they set that game up, like it's just worth playing like at a good pace. Like don't rush the story. So like, if you're gonna play it, Mike, don't just play it to like rush through and get to your next game. It's like definitely a play and enjoy, because
for sure,
how it's set up.
Now I have not played the first. Does that matter?
It won't. I mean, I don't know. Maybe a little bit. This takes place before the first game. This is a prequel. So
no.
I mean, not really. I mean, you're gonna miss maybe some story elements or something that they're hinting at.
Yeah,
but
impact
not worth
stuff.
It. Yeah.
Okay.
It actually might roll into the first one fairly well as well, from what I remember. So if you played this one, and then I think Red Dead's maybe getting a remaster by the sounds of it, which would be cool. But
nice.
Yeah, that samurai thing is nuts, because like I've had to through my job had to research land in our area back to like 1850. So like that's nuts that was happening.
Yeah, it was like
That's
the 1860s or something. Yeah, it's ridiculous when you look at
crap.
how long just the samurai were around is insane. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's super cool. Yeah.
Yeah, because Tsushima like predates like full on samurai golden age, and that's like 1600. So good 400-year run just to get into like the prime time honorable samurai.
Nice. What's up? What else is on your list?
Moving on. I want to finish, and like this won't be hard, but win a Total War 3 Kingdoms campaign. I'm like 16 hours into my current campaign. Trying to maneuver through it. It's my first campaign, and just for a myriad of reasons, it's challenging. I think like with the faction I chose and some decisions I made just learning the game, like I have to power through like this juggernaut of a faction, which is like the only option I have to progress. So I'm very carefully moving through that war with them, because it's scary. I had a very good like invasion run, because they were distracted further to the south along the Yellow River, and they finally like punched back, and like it hurt. So definitely biding my time with that campaign.
Yeah.
But luckily that's like an easy one to like pick up, jump off, do code battles, come back and forth on. So enjoying that game. And just because it's more like Asia and
Yeah.
that type of warfare, which is just so
Yeah.
much fun. And like I said before, they just really capture the attitude there, like the honor,
Yeah. It's cool. I definitely want to play. So, I mean, they're almost certainly better played on the PC. Like, it wouldn't be a Steam Deck game that I would want to play, right?
I don't think so, but you can
Yeah.
play Civilization on like the
On,
Steam
like, an
Deck
iPad.
and
Yeah,
Restoration
right.
and the iPad, so it's
Yeah.
not too far off from that. If anything, it's like a little bit easier. I just don't know
Yeah.
how you would do too effectively. Like, it can be done. It can be done
Yeah.
these days. I'm not worried about it. But yeah, it's a good time. So those ones I'm kind of like currently in and doing, and like just RPGs I want to get through. Horizon Forbidden West. I skipped out on that last year. I want to play that for sure this year. Just because it was well received. It'll be patched up and probably have some DLC by the time I buy it, so I'll be able to fully enjoy that one. That's gonna happen.
Yeah. That
I was
needs to
surprised I
happen.
missed out on. I skipped
Yeah.
out on this year, so
Yeah.
that was that third quarter lull. Just lost it.
Yeah.
This one's a given, but more targeted. It's not just play Valheim. It's finish, like get all the way through the Mistlands, which is a significant update. And I just popped my head in on the Mistlands, and like I've seen some videos. It's not easy.
Yeah.
Like that game continues to exponentially like get more difficult with each zone. And I think that's the case with Mistlands, and I'm gonna need some friends to help me.
Maybe returning to Valheim will be added to my list.
Well, according to our Steam in review, like June through like August, like we hit it really hard. So maybe summertime.
Yeah, that's when we made Dunholm in the refinery.
Yeah. Yep. Dunholm continues to grow very
Yeah.
slowly. It's quite.
Speaking
quite
of,
the
I
realm.
watched Joe Cross stream that the other night, and he was quite upset that he is locked out of Dunholm.
He went and visited Dunholm.
No, he was going through and visiting like all the different places, and he's like, and I can't get into this one because I'm locked out of everything, and like it's really funny.
Did he take a portal there, or?
Yeah, he was portal hopping.
Yeah,
But
that's
it was
fun.
funny.
He can get around, but yeah, there's some locked
He did
doors.
discover the fields, the farm crop fields, and he's like, wow, this is great. So many carrots.
So many carrots. This is fantastic.
Yep.
Progress on The Witcher. I'm not gonna like commit to anything there, but now that the new gen update is out, definitely want to get back into that and keep going. I will not commit to like finishing that game. I have a bunch of other RPGs I want to get through, but I feel like The Witcher 3 will just be like a forever play. Just want to consistently make progress there. Though I am sad that IP is having, maybe it's not struggling, but there's some worries on the horizon in regards to the show and all that stuff.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. I mean, the show for sure, but from the sounds of it, there's like 3 or 4 Witcher games in development. 2 that we don't know about, and then the next Witcher and a remake of the first one, I believe.
Isn't there a Witcher prequel series or spin-off series coming out too?
Yeah, it's out already.
Blood Origin,
pretty meh on the reviews on it by the sounds of it.
It's like thousands of years before The Witcher.
Yeah. Which
is funky. So
what the heck are you doing then if you aren't witching?
If you're witching.
It's just in the world. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just crazy because the new gen, you get like the show like gear, outfits and stuff like that, and then
and katanas. They added 2 katanas in it. Look awesome. And I had messaged you. I'm going to break into your portion here because this is one of my goals as well, is to replay The Witcher. And I need to touch on a couple things because I lost my save. So there's no 100%ing The Witcher for me ever. I totally threw that out. That was a goal a couple years ago That save is
Oh no.
don't know what happened to it. But I am
You hate to see it, guys.
yeah, I am super impressed with the PS5 upgrade. Like it blew me out of the water. I see why it took so long. It looks freaking amazing. There's gameplay improvements, visual improvements, camera improvements. I mean, they moved the camera almost identical to how it is in Ghost of Tsushima as well. But it just seems like a nice little realm for me to get lost in. You know what I mean? You know how I build my bubbles. I haven't seen the show. I haven't seen the anime or the animated movie, and I haven't seen the other show.
There's enough. There's definitely enough shows for you to like make significant progress on the game and watch a lot of stuff. So
yeah,
now would
definitely
2023 would be the year, especially before they roll out any more games.
Right. Yeah, for sure. And I think that
you don't have to 100% it, Chad. It's okay.
No, it's not happening. And I just have to come to terms with that. It's one of those games that's just not meant to be played that way. You know what I mean?
Well, they added an option to hide the
I saw that. Yep.
question marks, which is nice. That would help, I think, people's brains who just work like that. Like, I gotta go to the
not
next
just
question
immediately
mark.
have a panic attack when you
right.
fire up the game.
Right. And it's irritating to me because at least at the end of the story in The Witcher, that was like my favorite way of playing. And I wish there was a samurai game like that where you like went to the next town, solved all their problems, got on Roach and went off to the next town, solved all their problems. It's just a cool way to play the game and explore the world. So,
well, I can't believe I never like looked or cared to look at something, but I can't believe that wasn't there already because the issue, even though the question marks only appear like once you get so close to them on the map, but it's still pretty far, which they pop up. Like you just have to generally go to that part of the map and like you get all the question marks. It just makes sense to have the option to not show those because most of the time I would organically find them anyways. I'm like, oh, I'm at a question mark. Like I just got here by myself. I don't need question marks on my map to like get me play because you don't need them.
Right, exactly. The thing that annoyed me, especially when I started playing this briefly before Tsushima got its hooks back in me, is when you go to like the message boards in the towns and they have the like different things on there. It really annoys me that on that screen, the message board, there's not a level on the note because some of those are like level freaking 80. It's like never gonna happen, like not for years probably. So it's a little annoying when you pick them all up and then you can only do one of them because you're even remotely close to the level. The other ones are not even close. So I don't know why.
Can you only hold like so many quests too, or is that
I don't think so. I think it's indefinite, and I think that's my problem with the game is that I pick so many of these up that there's like freaking 200 quests in the log to go through to try and find it.
Yeah.
Chad just can't help himself.
And it also is really annoying of like kind of breaking immersion by reading the note and then it goes into the quest log and then you can't find it because there's 500 quests. You're like, there's not a name on the note. It's just what the person needs. And then you got to like try to go through and read that. It's just a mess.
Quest log is the Charlie Day whiteboard meme with like all the yarn everywhere.
Exactly it. Yeah.
and I'll give it to Red Dead 2. I mean, that does it really well in terms of keeping the agenda low, right?
Yeah.
It goes with the pacing of that game. It's slow. It's, you're really into the RPG element of it. And that's because they don't overload you with stuff to do. Like there's plenty of other things to go do, but you really have to seek them out. And you're either in the main quest area or you're kind of off and about doing things you want to do.
Right.
So,
yeah. I'll tell you, I spent an unholy amount of time in Red Dead Redemption 2 playing poker. And the same thing happened to me with the first Watch Dogs, where I just felt like the game wasn't really good, but it actually had a really cool poker mini game. But there's something about Red Dead's where you just like roll into town, go to the freaking bar, and there's people in the corner. You like grab a beer, go in the corner and play poker, and then you lose and you can get pissed off and shoot the whole place up. It's just so cool, dude. That's that's one of the most immersive games that I've ever played in my life.
All right, noted. Never play poker with Chad.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because when you first do that with like the dudes at the train station, just in like the back in that back room, like it popped over in like the achievements or whatever, like the first like set of them, like win 5 poker games. I'm like, crap, I'm doing this right now.
Right
Like
now,
this is
yeah.
fun.
Absolutely.
I do
Yeah.
I need to do more salooning in that game.
It's
But
definitely yeah, you definitely do because it's really cool to see how different the saloons are between the cities. I don't know how far you are, so I'm not gonna spoil anything, but there's like a really nice one later on that's super nice. But yeah, it's something about, and I can't remember. I think the name of the town is Valentine, maybe.
yeah, it's the
That
second
town, dude,
first
I could just,
first town.
I could just exist in that freaking town for days of gameplay. It's just
Yeah.
cool being there, dude. It's so cool.
Yeah. I should saunter back. I'm in the town after that. I should saunter back into Valentine where we're like wanted and just
Yeah.
like get in like
Yeah.
a bar fight and
Yeah, it's
kill
so
another 100 people in that town, because that's the last time I was there. I was like killed like it was part of the quest, so it wasn't just me, Mike.
Yeah.
My friends with a bunch of like mass murderers over
Yeah,
here.
I think that's, and if you go read my What We Want from Ghost of Tsushima 2, I put a lot of that in there, a lot of the like
yeah.
immersion stuff, you know what I mean? Like inns to
That would
stay
be
at,
so
or
cool.
you know, Chohan, that's the gambling they played back then, like places to go do that. That's what's missing from Tsushima, and I get it from Tsushima because it's wartime. We're assuming that it's not going to be wartime in the sequel because the next,
Yeah.
unless they do the second invasion, which didn't last that long. So
I would
don't know.
love to sit in like a tea shop or
Yeah,
whatever, you
right.
know, and
Yeah.
like call someone out on their honor and then just
Yeah.
duel them. And then
Right,
be like,
yeah.
you are unhonorable.
Yeah,
Murder.
absolutely. Absolutely. And
That-
I get
yeah, that-
it.
that
It's a
is
first
missing.
edition. You know,
Yeah.
Red Dead, the first one had some of those immersion things, but not nearly as much as the second one does, obviously. So I'm hoping that they do that in the sequel to Tsushima, because that's really what it's missing from my point of
Yeah.
view, at least.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I just have 2 quick ones here, but that don't have to go too deeply into. I do want to try Kingdom Come Deliverance. I got that on a deep sale there back
Oh,
on
yes.
Christmas. I've seen really good things about that. It's definitely looks like it's a little bit more on the skill difficulty to pick up, but it's supposed to be like a fantastic like RPG for like medieval times. So
Yeah.
there's some pros and cons there. But I definitely want to try it and try to get into that for sure. But the issue with that is it's right in the same lane as like The Witcher.
Yeah.
That's gonna be the only like draw. Like
Yeah.
one of them is gonna win this year.
Yeah, well, I think it depends, because I think that Kingdom Come Deliverance, I think, is non-fan, like there's no fantasy elements in
Right.
it whatsoever.
Yeah,
And the thing that hangs me up with that game is that game really intrigued me, but I cannot stand melee combat in first person. Just hate it. Can't do it. Like
Right.
in Skyrim, like that's why I don't really like Skyrim that much, is because
There's
the first
third person
person
in
melee.
Skyrim.
You can do
Isn't there?
third person, yeah, but I don't know. It feels like the world's built for you to be in first person. You know what I mean?
That's
So
like first person in Red Dead. It just is bad.
yeah, I don't like that either. Same with Grand Theft Auto. Like Grand Theft Auto 5's first person. Like it's cool
Yeah.
for like a novelty thing for an hour, but then it's like, okay, I want to be in
I need to
third
actually
person.
play the game.
Right. And it's just melee combat. It's just, and especially with that, where it's a very intricate combat
Mhm.
system that you're doing in first person. I was like, maybe if it's like $2 someday. I think it's actually free now. I think it's on the PlayStation Plus thing, so I might check
nice.
it out. But
Cool. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see. That might be a 2024 thing.
yeah.
That might be too difficult, because my last item here is going to be difficult, but I really want to do it this year. And I want to beat Sekiro for Chad.
Yes, I was so
this
hoping
year.
that this was going to sneak in there somewhere.
Will Roman beat it before Nick?
Roman is probably literally further than Nick ever got, for sure, because I don't think you got very far, did you, the first time you played it? Yeah. That needs to happen. I'll be so happy if we are sitting here at the end of 2023 and you're like, I beat Sekiro.
Shall I
hit
not
my
tell you
goal.
until this episode?
Yeah,
next
that
year?
would be perfect. Yeah. And if
Just
you
out
could
of
record
nowhere.
your entire gameplay so you can like give it to me at the end and I could go watch all your misery.
Oh my god.
That'd be great.
That should be Nick's like step into streaming.
Yes. Oh man. Yeah. That's a rough game to stream, because it's like
Dead.
it's dead.
I'm confused. How does
Yeah.
this mechanic work?
Right.
Dead.
Yeah.
No,
Dead.
those are the best ones to watch, because then when you like finally
Finally
get that
get it.
victory,
Yeah.
like we're all behind you, and we're all just as happy as you are
Yeah.
because we just
And
spent an hour and a half watching you die over and over
Yeah,
again.
and I'll be honest with you, you're honestly gonna get that feeling off stream, to be honest, because it's such a hard game that when you finally beat the boss that just whooped your ass for 57 times in a row, it's like the best feeling in the world. I mean, it's what the Souls franchise is
Yeah.
built on. So
57 seems too random to not be a specific amount of losses you had to a certain boss.
yeah, it was Genichiro. Yeah. 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 next to like fighting a Lionel for the first time in Breath of the Wild, and Breath of the Wild added a map thing where you could see where you traveled through the entire world during your playthrough. And then
that's
every time you
crazy.
die, you would have like a little thing pop out and you go, ah. So I would get to where the Lionel was the first time, and then it was like, just repeatedly over and over.
Dad needs to
And that was like
timestamp that.
23.
Yeah, that that needs to be clipped.
That was like,
Needs to be a soundbite.
yeah. And
Yeah,
that was
that
23
Switch.
times, I think, the Lionel for the first time. So yeah, Genichiro 57 probably won't ever be beat in any game.
Nice. That is a
First
lot.
try.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be an awesome thing to see you do, Nick.
I know. I'll probably be an oath breaker forever.
Yeah. You could get that title gone off your name. Clear your name.
Can I just pay my debt?
Yeah.
Perfect. Well,
That's
Chad,
me.
what are your goals?
Yeah, so I kind of already touched on The Witcher 1, so I won't touch on that any further. But I do want to kind of go with one that goes with that, but read the comment first.
Yeah, Civ says, I'd like to watch Nick stream Baldur's Gate 3 when it comes out. Are the Baldur's Gate games that interest you, Nick?
I think aren't those like Divinity Original Sin, like that style of game? That might be hard for me to play or get into.
Yeah, I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I don't know that I've ever.
I never
heard of
played any
Baldur's
Baldur's
Gate.
Gates.
Yeah.
It is
But-
according to Steam, popular tags, a story-rich RPG in which your choices matter.
So
Well, that
Divinity.
that frames it. It frames it pretty good. Yeah, but it's like that top-down Diablo style
Yeah.
gameplay, though.
That's Divinity too.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about that. I think ish, kind of. Yeah, I don't know. You have to look at
Ish.
it. I'm not super familiar with Baldur's Gate.
So
Yeah.
for my second one, to kind of go with The Witcher, I do want to play Cyberpunk this year really bad. It looks like it's
Oh.
in a really good spot to jump in. I held off on it. I was really excited for that game. That's probably top 3 biggest letdowns for me of all time. So up there with The Division and Watch Dogs. But yeah, it looks like it's put together. It looks like it's ready to play. They're coming out with a DLC. I haven't played a first-person shooter in, I don't even know, dude. It's been years probably since I played a first-person shooter. So yeah, and that's another one where there's like a really cool anime bubble to build around myself with cyberpunk stuff, and like futuristic stuff. So
Yeah.
I definitely want to get to that one. The other two that I have they kind of go against each other. So this year is absolutely, or 2023 rather, is absolutely stacked with huge releases, and I'm talking like big games coming out this year. Assuming they don't get delayed. Some of them have already been delayed, so I'm pretty certain we're going to get them this year. But I want to try to play every major release, which I kind of failed a little bit this year because, sometimes Tsushima just calls your name and you got to go back to it and you forget about God of War and other stuff. But I mean, Final Fantasy 16, I think, is really calling my name. It looks really cool. It's going back to the medieval setting that Final Fantasy should be at. Hogwarts Legacy is impressing me every gameplay trailer that they show of this game. I know nothing about Harry Potter. Again, nice little bubble to build myself into. But we're also
there for you.
What'd you say?
A lot of content there for you.
A lot. Yeah, a lot. And this game looks awesome, dude. I can't wait for it. I'm like counting the days down. You would think I'm a huge Harry Potter fan and know nothing about it. The game just looks awesome. on top of that, Alan Wake 2 is supposed to come out this year.
Yes, yes.
Jedi Survivor, Spider-Man 2, Breath of the Wild 2. I mean, there's a lot of, or I'm sorry, Tears of the Kingdom is what it's called now, Breath of the Wild 2.
Yeah, get it right, nerd.
There's
so
a lot.
play
There's
all
a
those
lot.
games as your goals.
Play all those major releases, which I think I should be. I mean, if you look at them outside of like February is pretty stacked because Like a Dragon Ishin comes out in February on top of, I believe, Hogwarts Legacy. So that's going to be like a funky month for me. But yeah, that's my main goal is I want to try to hit all these games this year. It might be a little harder than last year. Like I didn't think I was going to be able to not keep a backlog of these games last year with those first 3 releases that we got, Sifu, Elden Ring, and Horizon. But the rest of the year was kind of meh. So I was able to catch up on like Horizon and Elden Ring. This year, from what I can tell, at least so far, there's no meh months of this year. Like there's a huge, massive release practically every month. So that's
so when are you going to replay Tsushima and all of that?
Yeah, I know, dude. It's like it's got to fit. That's why I'm doing it now. So I just get it out of the way.
Yeah, there
Hopefully
you go.
it keeps me. And I think that maybe once that Ishin game comes out, like the Tsushima will like go by the wayside and we'll just wait for a sequel. But yeah, I don't know. And then the second, my final goal is I want to try, and this kind of goes totally against the last one that I just said, but I want to try and get to some older games and or games that I didn't have access to before I got the Steam Deck. There's a lot of games on there that I've never even heard of that look awesome.
Nice.
I got Grand Theft Auto 4 on the Steam Deck. Runs great. It's like the way to play it now because you can't play it on any of the modern consoles for whatever reason. So I definitely want to replay Grand Theft Auto 4. Missed that game. You know, it's been years probably. I haven't played it probably since release. And it's definitely a hell of a lot more janky than I remember it being back in the day. I don't know if that's just like my rewired brain after Grand Theft Auto 5. But it's just like the cars drive like shit. The character runs like shit. Like everything's crappy in it. But I'm sure I could adjust to it. And it runs really good on the Steam Deck. And it's crazy that I'm playing a major Grand Theft Auto title. You know, not one of the original HD trilogy ones. Like one of the newer ones on a handheld. It's absurd. So, yeah, it seems like every week more and more games are getting Steam verified on the Steam Deck. So, yeah, there's a lot of games on there that I've never played because I didn't have access to or never even heard of because I didn't have Steam. You know, I didn't have a PC to play these back in the day. So, kind of totally goes against the last one that I said where I want to play every major release. Like, I'm not going to have time for these older games, but we'll see how the year pans out, I guess.
So Civ says, have they announced how to pronounce Tears of the Kingdom?
Yeah, so there was a little bit of confusion on that, if it was Tears or Tears of the Kingdom, and there was a press conference somewhere where they said Tears of the Kingdom. So
that makes the most sense, like with that. But Tears could work, but it would be very odd name for a game.
Yeah,
but I see how it could make sense.
Yeah, I think there was something in one of the past Zelda games that had to do with tears of some sort. So I think that people were leaning that way from the get-go. But I'm really excited for that game. I know both boys are really excited. We're going to be fighting over that game when it comes out. Thankfully, we all have Switches, so I don't know if I'm going to have to like buy 3 copies of that when it comes out. But I mean, they've been waiting a long time for that game. I have some concerns with it, but we'll see how it pans out. It looks like they just literally copied the map from Breath of the Wild and then added stuff in the sky. So I don't know. I mean, I hope there's more to it. They're just not showing a lot of it. They're not.
Yeah. So I'm going to say it's definitely Tears then, because I feel like if that's true, there will be a lot of tears.
Yeah.
Mike, something you just said kind of is like more evidence to what our pre-show conversation was as well.
Third reference. We're going to have to record these from now on.
Is how he said, I might have to buy 3 copies of that so we can all play it.
Yeah.
So like outside of like Mike and I's like temperament to gaming, like there exists these other people that play games much more differently that drive the decisions gaming companies make. So we're like, why would you ever buy like a game like right when it comes out or release it not finished because
Yeah, here I am
someone out
about to
there
buy 3 of them
buy 3 copies no matter what the
to
same
make up for
game
you
is.
2.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That probably won't end up happening. I'm just trying to figure out like we're all going to want to play that game. But I
Yeah.
also like throwing my money at studios that do stuff right. The same thing I did with Tsushima when they got rid of the arrow quiver. I bought that game at full price, not for the upgrade, because they listened to me and I felt like I owed them that. And
Here's your 70 books.
yeah, I mean, I feel like if you listen to your fan base, I feel like we should give back as well. I'm so sick of like these
Well, in that
toxic communities.
in
They're
that
like,
vein,
oh, every game
you
should be
should-
$5.
you should not buy Nintendo games then, because
Right.
fourth reference
Yeah.
to our pre-show conversation, I'm emulating a DS game on my phone, which, by the way, plays amazing. I wish I had a Steam Deck because it would play way better on the Steam Deck. Actually, it's not the playing part that would be better, just having a full-size screen would be
Yeah.
better. But anyways, Nick was like, isn't that illegal? And I'm like, yes, it is. If you don't own the game, right?
Right.
Well, guess what? I don't own this game. It's a Nintendo game. Shockingly, it's a Pokemon game, right? Oh, big surprise. Mike's playing a Pokemon game. Problem is, I can't buy this game to play on my Nintendo hardware because for some reason they decide to just not put their games on their digital store from past consoles.
Dude, I don't get it. Yeah, because it's incredibly frustrating because the Wii had a shit ton of past games.
And
so
they
why
shut
does
down
the Switch?
not only that, but like if I were to buy like a 3DS, like they've either recently closed the 3DS store or they're about to close the 3DS
Right.
store. So like even if I went and bought a console to buy this game, I can't because they're making their games unavailable to their player base.
Right.
Even if they try to go through the correct avenues to play these games. And it's like, Nintendo, holy crap. Like, what are you doing?
And
if you would put all of the Pokemon Game Boy games available on the eShop for the Switch, I would probably buy every single one of them.
Yeah, right. A lot of people would.
Yeah.
And it's crazy,
so crazy.
that their entire history of everything they do, the type of games they make, like everything about them is geared toward replayability.
Right. Yep.
Like if
And then
anything is replayable, it's a Nintendo anything. It's replayable. Like that's their whole premise.
Right.
And it's like you're never gonna be able to play this again. Hope
it's annoying because I don't know if you remember before the Switch came out, there was rumors that it was going to have GameCube games on the store that you could buy. I was like, that's like buying it day one. If that's the case, 100%.
Yeah.
No, still waiting on the GameCube games. Waiting on any games. They have some like 64 games on there now, but that's not what we want.
Yeah. So with Nintendo Online, you can there's a handful of NES, SNES, and now 64, and for some reason Sega games. When they had added the Sega and Nintendo 64 games, everyone was hoping and thinking that we were going to get Game Boy and GameCube games.
Yeah.
Instead, they're like, Nintendo 64, cool. I'll take those, even though I don't play any of them and was not a fan of Nintendo 64.
Right.
But instead of adding Game Boy and GameCube or one of those two, there's like, here's Sega games.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Yeah, it goes back to what we always say on here, that Nintendo just makes weird fucking decisions all the time. Like it started with the 64's awful controller and it never ended. It never it's still going on. They still make weird decisions.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't understand. Yeah, so how many goals is that for you? 3?
4.
Whoa. Hey, we went up one. There you go. Progress. Nice. Yeah, okay. So I mean, my goals probably are not going to be too surprising. I actually was struggling to set goals this year for some reason.
Wow.
I think I'm just in a moment of time where I don't want to say I'm disinterested in gaming, but I maybe burnt out of gaming, or like I shouldn't say burnt out either. I think both of those words are not correct, but I just haven't been there hasn't been much motivation.
You're in a lull.
Yeah, a lull. I'm in a rut. And that even extends into watching things, which is really bad for our podcast.
Yeah.
Oh,
If the two things our podcast is based around, I'm in a rut in.
Right.
Not good. But anyways,
we're about
so
to try to
I
watch a whole series in like a month,
Yeah.
Right.
Not even.
2 months, I guess, technically.
Yeah.
but-
yeah, so I did set some goals, and I have been chipping away at not an emulated game, but a fan-made game on my phone that I just uh, essentially have beat. I have like two or three more end game things, but like the main crux of the game has been completed. Shocker, I want to play more Pokemon fan games and ROM hacks. I've always been interested in these fan mades and ROM hacks where basically a fan, such as myself, decides to create their own Game Boy game using RPG Maker or whatever, and whatever assets are flying around out there on the internet. They're super cool because these stories a lot of times are a lot more mature than the Pokemon Company and Game Freak Pokemon games that come out. A lot of these people who are creating these games are coming up with really interesting brand new Pokemon designs. So they have a bunch of like, they're called Fakemon, that are really interesting. So, each one of these games has a plethora of new stuff. And and a lot of them are really interesting. I finished up Pokemon Infinity on my phone, which was really cool. The narrative took a really cool turn at the end. Has some really cool, unique Fakemon in it. But I definitely want to get more into those, play a bunch more. I have a whole bunch on my computer that I haven't really cracked open yet. There's one that might interest you, Chad. Not that you're a big Pokemon fan, but it's called Pokemon Bushido, and it's all like,
Oh yeah.
set in
Yeah.
samurai type.
I tell you that
time
that was
setting.
that was the most, because isn't Arceus kind of around that time frame too? Yeah,
Yeah.
that was what was drawing me to Arceus the most. And I ended up not playing it, but yeah, sounds cool.
Yeah, but yeah, I wanna try to do that. Get some more into those. Maybe stream some more. Another Pokemon game that may or may not interest you. That the one I am emulating on my phone is one that I attempted to play earlier in the year, but then got distracted by other things. It's called Pokemon Conquest, and it is an official Pokemon game, but it is a turn-based tactics game using
Ooh.
Pokemon set in a feudal Japan type era where warring kingdoms are
Oh man, that's
vying for
cool.
dominance, because there is a rumor in the game's lore that the kingdom that if somebody can control all of the kingdoms in this region, that it will like summon the Pokemon that created the region, and they can like capture it and control it. So yeah, it's a super interesting game.
That is really cool. That's an official Pokemon game?
Yeah,
I've
it wasn't
never
like
heard of
a mainline game. Came out on the DS, so it's like several years old, but
Huh.
something you can emulate on your Steam Deck. I am emulating it
Yeah.
on my phone, so I'm sure the
Yeah,
Steam Deck will be.
There are a couple DS and 3DS games that I would like to try to emulate. I just am having a hard time wrapping my head around the double screen. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
how does that work on the
They
Steam
just
Deck?
stack on top of
They
each
stack
other.
on top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll try to open it on my phone here. It's the phone is a terrible example because the screen is so small.
Right.
But like on my PC, it looks fine. I'm streaming Pokemon Ultimate Moon or Ultra Moon, and it's a 3DS game, so it has the double screens, and on PC it's fine. But
Yeah.
this is what it looks like on the phone. And if you're an audio listener, I apologize that you're not going to be able to see this, but it's even more reason for you to check out our YouTube videos. Let's see if I can get it without the glare. Maybe you're not going to be able to see it, but
Yeah, I kind of see.
it
Yeah.
kind
Okay. I
of
see what you're
stacks on
saying.
top of each other. And if you go this way, it's
Yeah,
terrible. You
it's
can't
really
do it
bad.
that way.
Right.
But the cool thing with this emulator, RetroArch, shout out, is it has a button that you can flip. You can't see because of the glare, but there's a button you can flip which screen is on top and which screen's on
Oh,
bottom.
that's cool.
So, anyways, my second goal is again to complete a Nuzlocke challenge. I will do this one day. I don't understand. Like, I'm not a great Pokemon player when it comes to like crunching the stats and all the abilities and all that stuff. Like, I could care less about that. I'm in it for like the cool Pokemon designs and catching them all, like that's all I'm interested in. But these Nuzlocks are so fun and such a unique way on a run through one of these games. I want to do it. A lot of people seem to have like no problems doing these runs and completing them, but I have never done one yet. So that's going to be it. And just challenge runs in general. There's all different kinds of locks with different twists. One that I just discovered that I want to try is called an Ash lock, and you can only catch and use Pokemon that Ash from the anime caught in that generation of game. So that would be a regular Nuzlocke's hard enough, but if I wanted to make it even more painful, like I could do an Ash lock, which sounds fun. I would love to. This is my last Pokemon related one. But I'm really close to completing my Pokemon community game, Pokédex, which is the Twitch chat game. We have that on our Twitch channel, and there's a lot of plethora of streamers on Twitch that have PCG in their chats. Ugly Kid Joe Cross runs PCG, which is where I found my love for PCG from. BioCiv also runs PCG in his stream. But I'm currently at 91.5% complete with my Pokédex. I'm missing about 60 Pokemon. So we're getting close. I started in March, so
that's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think I can do it. And if I complete this, I get my shiny charm, which makes it a lot easier to catch shiny Pokemon, which is every Pokemon lover's dream, is to have all the shiny ones.
Speaking of Pokemon, I do have to point out something that I think is just so freaking funny. So every day, literally every single day, Brady comes home with a new Pokemon card. And I'm like, dude, what? Like, are you trading for these?
Yeah,
like, what are you? These from? He's like, well, some of them I trade, and some of them are like VMAX, like really nice cards. And I'm like, dude, are you just like? He's like, they're giving them to me. I'm like, dude, you're just wheeling and dealing at the lunch table and getting these Pokemon cards. I'm like, do you ever give something back? Do you ever trade? He's like, I mean, sometimes.
If you're good, you don't have to.
Yeah, it's so funny, dude. Every time he gets off the bus, he's holding up another Pokemon card.
What a guy, man.
Yeah, he's hilarious.
That's awesome. See, and that's just more reason for you to get into Pokemon, Chad.
I mean, there was a time when I was a kid that I was really into it. It's just like it's propelled so far beyond what I knew that like I don't even understand it. He does have like. Go ahead.
I was gonna say Chad gets into it and he gets hustled by his kid out of
right.
His Pokemon cards.
Yeah. But I mean, I do like looking through his Pokemon cards. He has a couple really cool Japanese ones that have Japanese writing that are so cool. So yeah, I mean, there's enough Pokemon in this house to get me back into it. It's just
dude, I'm telling you, if you want, man, you really should try Arceus. Like.
I know that was the closest game. Yeah, that was the closest I got in years.
I had around my birthday last year, I went and I bought some individual cards of some of my favorite Pokemon. I tried to find like cool. I think they're all VMAX, but I tried to find ones that just had like really rad artwork.
Yeah.
Of some of my favorite Pokemon, and I wanted to figure out a way to display it somewhere. Like originally I had an idea of like, this is a big Justice League poster right here, which has now been covered up by all my daughter's artwork that she does for me. And obviously that poster is massive, and to fill a frame up of individual Pokemon cards to display with that would be out of hand.
Right.
But I do have like a select few Pokemon cards. I'm trying to figure out a cool way to like display them somehow, because some of the artwork on these cards are so cool.
Yeah, it is cool. I agree.
But yeah, maybe someday. I don't know. I need to talk to Dad, see what he can whip up. I found some cool like 3D printed or epoxy like coasters that people put cards inside, and they were all colored and looked really cool.
Yeah.
Anyways, my next
You should do
goal,
you should do a game mat, like a desk mat.
Oh, that would be really good.
that would be sweet. Just an epoxy desktop.
Yeah.
With the cards
Of
in it.
all
Yeah.
So you can
cards.
just stare
Yeah,
at your
that'd be
desk
cool.
instead
Yeah.
of type and work.
Chad,
Yeah.
did you ever go to Grand Slam in Belden? Remember how their tables were just
Yeah.
old baseball trading cards? Something
Yeah.
like that. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
My next goal to play Mass Effect 2 at some point, which we discussed earlier. Mass Effect 2 definitely, but it would be cool if I would be able to finish up the Legendary Edition this year. My next goal isn't really, I mean, I guess it turns into playing games, but it's, get PC Game Pass, because, I was just scrolling through there earlier today, and there's just so many good games that I haven't played that I really want to play. I just haven't signed up. I was signed up for Game Pass, and then I stopped because I was focusing on my backlog, and my backlog just continues to grow because I'm a bargain hunter. And whenever I see a game go on like sale for $5 or something, I'm just like, I gotta buy it. Like, it's been on my wish list for 2 years. Like, it's $5. I gotta buy it. I'll play it someday. But then I look at my backlog in Steam and I'm like, why would I pay for Game Pass when I have all these games I've accumulated?
I think that like Persona 4, Persona 5 are on Game Pass now. There's a lot of stuff on there. So
yeah. There's one in particular that I really want to play, and it's called Chained Echoes, and it's a 16-bit styled like throwback RPG. Looks like Super Nintendo, but I think it has a lot of quality of life upgrades from those style of games from back in the day that I've heard nothing but amazing things about it, and it looks super cool. Another goal would be to continue enjoying some of these like narrative heavy games. For example, I was just scrolling through libraries like Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls, because I love Detroit Become Human, so it only makes sense to visit those games. Recently got Death Stranding on Epic for free on Christmas, so heard that was a cool game. That it didn't quite, it wasn't as miserable as a lot of people claimed it to be. And then try to crack into the Warhammer 40K series somehow. There's like 30 trillion Warhammer 40K games. I started Mechanicus, which is a shocking turn-based tactics game. But that universe has always fascinated me. I spoke on our Game Awards coverage when they showed off Space Marine 2. I want to play that. I want to play Space Marine 1. Henry Cavill just announced that he is launching a Warhammer 40K series on Prime. So I kind of want to get my toes wet in that universe before the show comes out, so I kind of have some vague idea of what's going on. Another goal can, of course, continue to grow Showboys Gaming, obviously. And then last but certainly not least is to see our Dungeons and Dragons campaign through to the end, whatever end Joe has in mind. I don't even know if that end will be in 2023, but I want to make sure that we like keep going with that, because that has been such a fun experience. My first time playing D&D, and getting to do it with our good buddies Joe and Dad and Civ and Amy. It's just been a real blast, and man, we need to see, for my for closure and my mental state, like I need to see Joe's story to the end, because it's taken so many wild turns that I just need to see where he's taking us.
Yeah.
But I mean that's it for my goals, really. I mean, some are more general than others, some are more specific than others, but yeah, we'll see. I'll probably forget all about this list tomorrow. And then
Right.
tomorrow.
we'll come back next year and we'll have completed probably half of them.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, especially because you really front loaded the Pokemon stuff there. If you just
Yeah.
you load up like 50%
I mean,
Pokemon, you're good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I just kind of played the odds in my favor.
Right. I do kind of want to add Dragon Ball Kakarot to my
Yes.
list as well,
Yeah.
because that's just
Do
something that's
do
always
it.
been like, I feel like I'd really be into Dragon Ball, but I've just never
Mhm.
got around to it. I feel like Brady both of them would be really into it as well, so kind of want to add that.
Dude,
But
can we? I didn't float this by anyone, so this is totally going to be putting you guys on the spot, which you guys should be used to because I do this all the time. But what if? Okay, follow me on this. We set one goal for each other to try to
yeah, I'm in.
accomplish.
Fucking in. Yeah, 100%.
Are you up for that, Nick? It's not going to be anything super crazy, but so I'll start. Chad, I would like for you to try either Pokemon Conquest or Pokemon Bushido, and you should be able to play both of those on your Steam Deck. I'll get you, I'll show you where you can get the ROMs and or download the games. But I would love for you to try to get into Pokemon, but these two games are up your alley with the Japanese like
It sounds
samurai
like it. Yeah, it definitely sounds like it.
So it could be something that sticks and maybe you'll get really into it, or you'll just be like, no, this is stupid. But
Yeah.
at least we can say we tried.
Yeah.
Nick, for you, oh man, I don't even have I'll have to let you guys go around maybe.
There's only one option. There's only one option for Nick.
Yeah. Chad, what's yours?
It's come
for
from
Nick?
both of us, maybe. Nick
we
needs to
can't
beat
double
Sekiro.
down.
Yeah, definitely doubling down. My goal for you is to beat Sekiro. I'm doubling down on your
But
goal,
Mike can't
100%.
double down on it.
Yes, he
I'll
can.
triple down on it.
He made the
Oh,
rules.
okay.
You don't make the rules.
Yeah, I'm the
Wow.
commish, bro.
And then for Mike, Persona 5 all day.
Play it all day.
You just play it all day.
One day, all day.
So Persona 5, Sekiro. Look at that. I
Okay.
did that first try.
That's impressive.
I dropped my
still
mic, but
struggle
it's
with
got to
pointing.
stand, so I can't quite drop it.
Um,
Unfortunately.
Smack it.
Man, so I have to try Persona even more than I already tried Persona.
Oh, I forgot you tried Persona.
I did.
Yes.
I put probably like 3 or 4 hours into it.
Yeah, you need to put like 15 hours into it. Then if you're not in, you're not in.
Dang, that's like a whole game for a lot of games I play.
Yeah, not for this game though.
Okay. Dad says he's into. Dad, do you mind if I pull you on screen for this so we don't forget to do this? Well, I guess you can pull yourself in because you are the producer or whatever. You have that capability. All right, there he is.
I met with the challenge to you to play or for someone to do something.
For Nick to play Sekiro, or for Chad to play Pokemon, or for me to play Persona. Or yes,
I can't remember. Yes,
One of them.
Yes,
all the
Yes,
above.
all of them.
All the above. I totally had it, but then you threw me on.
You threw him
me on
on
the
screen
spot.
and he just fell apart.
I fell apart. I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh! All right, get
I'm
out
leaving
here.
now.
Get out of here. Okay. So, did that give you enough time to think about anything, Nick, or is this going to
Sure.
be something you're going to have to
No.
revisit?
No, I definitely I'll reinforce Chad on playing Kakarot. He needs to take the Dragon Ball plunge and just do it. You just gotta do it, man.
Yeah. I do.
So I'm glad you added that so you can double down and you doubled, tripled, quadrupled down on my Sekiro goal. Old Michael. I feel like I think there's more shows I always demand you ought to watch. I don't know if I ever demand many gaming things for you to do, but I just challenge you to finish the Mass Effect trilogy
Yes.
this year. Like you have to get to the end of that game because we need to talk about how you feel about the end of that
Yes.
trilogy.
Yes, we do.
All right, and my typing right now is I'm jotting down the goals that you guys set for me that I will inevitably forget tomorrow,
Yeah.
and then see if I actually completed them next year. Need to complete Mass Effect trilogy. All right. Well,
Okay, so
perfect. That
mine were what were the Pokemon games?
it's either Conquest or Bushido, but I will send you
Bushido.
links. I might actually have both of those on Drive already in a folder that I can just share with you. But anyways, that actually wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Coming up with those goals for each other, like on the spot there. That actually went pretty smoothly, pretty quickly.
It did.
So yeah, you guys have anything else you want to say about gaming goals before we get out of here?
Nothing about gaming goals, but we do have one more thing to talk about,
What's that?
and that's our episode next week.
Oh yes, I was gonna go into that, but thank you. Go ahead. What are we doing?
Oh yeah, so next week we are kicking off our second Throwback Thursday series, where we collectively watch a series where I think the sweet spot is every other week, so every other episode. Give ourselves 2 weeks to watch a whole season of a series, and then we will recap the whole season on the episode. So next week we'll be recapping season 1 of Mr. Robot.
Yes.
And in our typical fashion, we like to have a good ratio here, and this is kind of how we pick these shows. We have our seen it, our diehard person, the person who hasn't seen it. So in this situation, Mike, this will be his third watch.
Yes.
My second watch, Chad's first watch. So this will be pretty fun, and this is a perfect show to triple double and first time watch. Anyways,
Yeah, because I mean, we're not actually gonna go into anything tonight, obviously. But you were saying, Nick, that you started episode 1 yesterday or whatever, and you were telling me like how crazy it is on a second watch, like
30
things that
minutes
you
into
pick
the
up,
first
like what they're
episode,
doing.
I'm like,
Yeah.
this is a whole different show.
Yeah. I started my series rewatch for the second time right before the season or the series finale aired. So this was like a weekly show on USA. And yeah, rewatching this show for the second time, the entire show is completely different. So I'm excited to see what happens on my third. And especially how much I've retained, because it's been a couple years and I started my second rewatch like in the heat of the finale and all that stuff. So I
Right.
was like really into it. But
How
I'm
many episodes are each season?
10,
10.
Oh,
and they're
nice.
full hours
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
easily.
So for those of you out there listening that want to follow along, you can stream this for free on Prime Video if you have an Amazon Prime membership.
So not
4
for free.
seasons.
So
What?
I said
for
so
free.
not for free.
Yeah. So for
Steep
$120 a month or a year. Yeah, it is funny how they're like, you get all this free stuff for the membership you paid for.
Yeah.
But you know, there's stuff on Prime that you have a video that you have to pay for. But yeah. So it's on Prime Video, and I am so excited. I was telling Dad this earlier that this is probably my favorite series of all time. And I want to try to not overhype it, get expectations displaced for Chad, who's never seen this before. But truly, this is a work of just utter brilliance and probably like a complete masterclass of how to tell a story. I hope I didn't overhype anything.
I mean, you got like a yin yang thing going on here because you're like overhyping it. Dad's in the chat saying you are overhyping it. So I don't know where to land.
Yeah. So hopefully Dad watches along too. Because I feel like this is a show everyone needs to watch. And
I'm kind of worried
I'm super excited
about it.
Super excited.
Because the second and third watch is so much different than the first. like we're gonna have to like not talk about. We're gonna have to be careful
Not
how we
spoil it,
talk
yeah.
about things.
I mean,
It's
I
not
feel
even
like
not
we
about-
did a good job with Game of Thrones, and that's a lot of stuff to spoil. So,
But-
you know,
Yeah, but you'll once you see this series, you'll understand the dilemma here.
okay, gotcha.
Um,
But
So-
he's not gonna understand the dilemma until like the last season.
Yeah, until probably the last episode.
And then the dilemma is revealed to you.
Yeah, and then our third Throwback Thursday show will be Mr. Robot again, so you can
So
pick
we
up
can
on
revisit
the
it.
rewatch.
That's terrible. Worst idea ever.
Yeah, no, I'm excited though because Throwback Thursday is such a cool idea for a series. The Game of Thrones one was really cool, and I thought it went really well. So I'm excited to revisit this, and then I'm sure, we always hark on Nick for never seeing Breaking Bad, so I'm sure that that'll be Throwback Thursday number 3 sometime later this year. But anyways, that's what's coming up. Stay tuned. We're going to start trying to utilize our YouTube community tab on our channel here for some community engagement. So check that out. Join the Discord so you can get more details on the Showboys March Madness best streaming service original series thing that's happening. And make sure you subscribe. Tell your friends to subscribe so we can give away all the things that we want to give away. Until then, we'll see you next week. Bye.
So, did you guys see me fumbling with something over here? What is that?
Mr. Robot Pops.
Mr.
Yeah.
Robot Pop.
You have.
Did you guys see me fumbling during the episode over here?
Yes.
a
Because
little bit,
there
yeah.
was possibly the largest spider I've ever seen in my life. That literally, it felt like I crushed a human skull when I killed it.
Oh,
and it
wow.
startled me so much because it looked like a freaking hand coming over the table. That's how big it looked.
I thought someone like